everyone, it is me. I am back with another video, and today I am doing the Art Style Bend Challenge in the form of a good old-fashioned speed paint. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. I'm gonna pass you over to VoiceOver Me. Take it away, VoiceOver Me. Alrighty, so we are doing the Art Style Bend Challenge. I'm not exactly sure who started this challenge, but I'm pretty sure it originated on Twitter. And basically what you do is you ask your followers to give you the characteristics of your art style. That can be like, what does your line art look like? What sort of colors do you use? Stuff like that. And you do the opposite. So for me, it was big noses and ears, bright colors, wide faces, crisp lines, wavy/curly hair, slightly smaller eyes, and minimal shading. And I basically had to do the opposite. And it was a lot harder than I thought it would be to do this challenge. It seemed very simple on the surface, because I feel like I've got a pretty distinct art style, and I thought, yeah, just do the opposite. But it's crazy how naturally my art style comes and how hard it is to try and fight my natural art style and do the opposite of it. So it was definitely a difficult challenge, but a fun challenge. And if you're struggling to come up with drawing ideas, I 100% recommend you try it because it's a lot of fun. So generally my process, especially with digital art, is to do a really rough under sketch and then a second sketch on top of that, which is where I really figure out where all my lines are going to go before doing the line art. So that's what you're seeing at the moment. Really was struggling with that hand, so I went on to lining and I thought I'll figure it out later. I've heard a lot of people say that they really hate doing line art, especially if it has to be really clean. I honestly love it. It comes really easily to me. I think that's because I started out with traditional art and there's no undo. So I had to learn how to do clean line art with no help, basically. So I think that might be part of why I like it so much, because I am able to make clean lines and not have to rely on the undo button too much. Although I do really appreciate the undo button, honestly. I went back to traditional art after doing a couple of days of purely digital art, and I found myself trying to tap the page to undo a line, or like try and zoom in on the page, and I'm like, oh god, what have I become? That's part of the reason why I decided to do this challenge digitally, because I knew that the before would be really easy, but the after, I will be doing a lot of undoing and color adjustments and all sorts of things to try and make it look as different as possible. So definitely use that to my advantage, and I think it helped a lot to do it digitally, especially when it came to colors, because I often use really bright colors and my brain was struggling to get the colors right on the second one because they were not what I usually use, and I was like, this does not look good, but it has to be the opposite of what I think looks good. Anyway, I should probably stop talking about the after if you can't even see it on screen yet. So let's talk about the before. Here I am doing some shading. I decided to make Archie holding his cat Scooch. Not something that I would usually do. Something that I would generally struggle with is drawing animals, but for some reason it just came super naturally to me and was super easy. So I was really impressed with how easily the before turned out, to be honest. Like, I don't generally struggle to draw my characters, but you know, you go through a couple of hiccups along the way every now and then. You can't be perfect every time, but this, I don't know, it just came out so perfectly, exactly how I wanted it to, and it was super easy and relaxing to draw, so it was just all around a great time. And I'm super glad that the before was as easy as it was, because if the before posed any challenge to me, I would have struggled even more with the after. I'm especially surprised that the before came so easy to me, especially since I haven't drawn Archie in ages. I know he's one of my like OG characters, one of the first original characters that I ever actually invested my brain into. But recently, I just haven't been drawing him, and this was the first time in probably months that I've drawn him, so I was very impressed with myself at how easy it was. I feel like I'm sounding a bit like narcissistic by being like, oh, drawing is so easy. Oh, it just comes so naturally to me. It doesn't all the time, but when it does, I'm super glad, and this was one of those times. So that's why I'm like talking about it so much, because I'm kind of just baffled that it actually worked out the way I wanted it to with no hiccups. As you can see, now I'm just adding the final details onto Archie, slapping down some red for his scars and whatnot. I have no method to this. I kind of just scribble random like bright colors and then lower the opacity. That's just how I've been doing it for like years. I don't know if that's the right way to draw scar tissue, but it's my way. So that just about wraps up the before. So, oh no, there's more scribbling going on. Should be moving on to the after any second now. Doing voiceovers is difficult. I don't know how people do it all the time. Now it just looks like I'm doing nothing. What's even happening on screen right now? I can't see anything happening. Okay, now we're on to the after. So yeah, as I explained before, basically just doing the opposite of everything that's listed in the middle there. I've given him spiky hair instead of wavy hair because I wanted to maintain the general shape of his hair, but obviously make it different somehow. So my overall idea was basically to just use like sharp, sketchy lines instead of clean, smooth lines. And it was actually a lot of fun. I completely eliminated the second sketch layer because that became my line art, and it was good to just slap out a drawing and be sketchy and not spend 3 hours making sure every line is crisp and smooth. And overall, I really like how after Archie came out. The colors were my biggest struggle, I think, but overall, I really like how he turned out. I like experimented with different ways of shading, using different brushes, trying to make like a more smooth gradient type shading instead of cell shading, which is what I usually do. I feel like I definitely could have pushed the shading further, but overall, I think I did a good job. I even threw some cross-hatching in there, like, we're doing everything today. It kind of reminds me of my style back when I first created Archie. It's like giving me those vibes when I used to give everyone like really skinny arms and skinny necks, and now my style's evolved into something a little bit more realistic, but still not quite there. I don't know. I don't even know what my style is. Can you call it realistic? I don't know. But either way, I really like it, and this challenge was a lot of fun. And that just about wraps it up, so I will pass you on back to future me on the camera. Take it away, future me. Thanks, voiceover me. You're a legend. So that is it for today's video. If you like these sort of speed paint with voiceover videos, I recommend you check out my Patreon. I do them a lot more often over there, alongside other videos like secret sketchbook tours and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, check it out. It would help me out a lot. I don't know why I'm doing this with my hands. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you have any ideas for videos you'd like to see in the future, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.